Good morning. Thank you for joining me on Community Focus. I'm Nikki Ramirez, and I'm so excited to have my guests this morning. If you can, please both introduce yourself and give us your title.
All right. Good morning. I'm Zachary Rinkins, Public Information Officer for Broward County Animal Care.
And I am Philip Goen. I'm the Field Services Program Manager for Animal Care.
Welcome, both of you. So let's start with Zachary. Please, first tell us, why do people often interact with animal care during, one moment or another throughout their lives?
All right, so Broward County Animal Care is the county's official pet adoption and animal welfare agency. And so we are the county's official pet adoption agency, meaning that people have the opportunity to adopt, foster, and engage dogs and cats throughout the county. We have a robust population of different types of cats. And on the enforcement side, which is what Philip takes care of, sometimes we have to deal with situations where we're protecting residents and the pets they love, and sometimes the pets they don't know. In certain situations, whether it's issuing citations or whether providing resources and things of that nature. We consider ourselves an active agency, but we're also a part of the county's first defense as it relates to some public health things. We enforce codes as it relates to encouraging the residents throughout the county to get their rabies shots. We know that rabies can transmit to human beings, and so it is a public matter.
Now, I have to start by saying I'm a pet parent. I grew up with dogs, and then I currently have my princess, who's Marley. And I want to, tell our listeners and our residents here in South Florida that I want to make sure that they understand it's, animal care, but it's also, like you just mentioned, you help with, with the public. If something you see on the news all the time, there was a rabies or there's an animal that has rabies, and what, the people in that area should do. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. That's a real large part of what we do with field services is public health and public information. And obviously rabies is kind of the what started animal services in general. That's one of the big things that even started animal welfare agencies and animal service agencies is to control the rabies endemic in the United States.
Yeah.
And the big thing to recognize is just preventative care. Getting that rabies vaccine, even if it's an indoor animal. One of the big myths that we see in field services is people say, well, my cat or my dog doesn't go outside, so it doesn't need a rabies shot. But remembering that animals that carry the virus can also get inside of your house. Small animals like
I didn't even know that. Now that you say that, I didn't even realize that even indoor animals should also have that.
Yes, absolutely. Even indoor animals. In my tenure as an officer, I've pulled bats out of people's houses.
Wow.
They're small enough to get in there. It's not common, but it does happen. And also, accidents happen. A dog and a cat that's purely inside, they can escape. They can get outside. They get curious. They get lost, and now they're not protected. So we want to prepare for that by providing the necessary preventative vaccines.
Now, this might be a crazy question, but here in South Florida, we do have, sometimes larger animals, like the alligators and different things like that. Do you also deal with those, or is there a different number that they would call? Or if, because I see it all the time. You hear, especially on the news, you see, there was an alligator in this canal, or, there's a lot of iguanas or something's going on. Do y'all deal with those too, or is it just mainly like cats, dogs, and
primarily
rodents?
It's dogs and cats. We can be a resource for getting information with regard to the other animals. We want people to see our field officers and our agency as a resource. But depending on the animal, you would be reaching out to another agency. For the alligators, you would be reaching out to Florida Wildlife Conservation. For other small wildlife, you might reach out to South Florida Wildlife Care Center. And then they reach out to our agency as needed. So we do work with all of our partner agencies. And when they need additional assistance, they'll reach out to our officers, and we're happy to assist.
Now, I know you also mentioned animal care services. Like, what type of services do you offer to the public?
Well, I thought that was a great question. In terms of the rabies, we're very vigilant, and we are definitely first line people in that regard, in the sense that twice a month we provide pet wellness clinics. they come at our shelter, but we're also in the community. So we go to Pompano, we go to Coral Springs, Fort Lauderdale, West Park, and other cities to host these clinics. And largely, all people have to pay is the $25 pet registration fee, which is required by county ordinance. And so people are able to come there, get their preventatives, get their vaccinations, microchips, and things of that nature to have a happy, healthy, and loving pet. We also have services like we partner with the Pet Project. So
I wanted to ask you about that. Yes, please talk about the Pet Project.
So with the Pet Project, with some of our older senior dogs, we designate them as Pet Project. And so the Pet Project, which is a not-for-profit out of Wilton Manors, they're very good partners with us. They'll pay for food for the life of that dog. Wow. They'll also give you annual vet visits so that you can do some basic services in that regard. And so that's one of the ways we partner with other people to take barriers away. We also do Slamba. That's a partnership where we're very resourceful as it relates to spaying and neutering big dogs. And so those are some of the services we provide. Also, Philip and his field team, sometimes they help people with fences. Sometimes you have crafty dogs that can get out of an enclosure or a fence. We provide cages and crates sometimes and resources in that regard. And we are very sensitive to some of the economic challenges that people are contending with. And so if you call our shelter and say, hey, I can use some food, I can use some other resources to help with my pet, to keep my pet, you can call us and we'll also provide those services and resources as well. And sometimes, depending on the situation, we may be able to drop it off to you.
What's that phone number to call?
All right. When you want to get the job done as it relates to Broward County Animal Care, you can call 311.
Perfect. Okay, I have a question for you, Philip, because we see all the time about cases that turn into, like a citation or there's a cruelty case. What are some signs that you look for before you get to that, or the public gets to that situation?
Sure. So we start with preventative. We look for the early signs. Keep in mind, animal cruelty, by the time it gets to a media outlet or something like that, it's typically pretty severe, but it didn't start that way. And there's two different types of animal cruelty, right? There's active cruelty and there's passive cruelty. So there's acts of omission where people just didn't know any better, and then there's acts of commission where people intentionally do things. Most of the cruelty that we see as officers is passive cruelty. It's not that somebody intended for that animal to get to that situation. It's just that by the time it finally kind of hit them, or they realized that it was too far, and they were beyond their means and resources, or they were too embarrassed or too scared to try and ask for help. So some of the signs that we look for are those early warning signs. So when we start to see people that are struggling with some of the basic care needs, or maybe just don't have any information or don't know any better, and so we try and intervene on an early side with public information first, and then I encourage all of our officers to be resource officers. Let's look for ways that we can assist the public and their pets.
Right.
We can't take care of the pets in the community without taking care of the community that takes care of the pets.
And is it true, is it the citation, is it like a fee that they have to pay if they don't do what they're supposed to be doing? Or how does that work with the citations?
Yeah, the citation is a monetary fine. So it's a citation that comes with a fee, just like any other ticket. People do have the option to speak to a hearing officer when they receive a citation, so it's not just a one and done. But we don't want it to get to that point. Right. Generally, the field officers, there's the myth that animal control is out there just to issue tickets and take away dogs. That's usually the last thing they want to do. They really want to try and make the community better for the pet and help bring pets into the community and keep them there. And so writing that citation isn't always the answer. It's a tool. It's a tool in your tool belt. You don't use a screwdriver to hammer in a nail. You use the right tool for the job.
And what if someone, like in my neighborhood, if I saw something that was going on and I felt like that needed to be reported, do they call you directly?
Correct. Yeah. So if it's a non-emergency issue, they would call 311 to get in touch with them. And then if it is an emergency issue, obviously call law enforcement. They can respond a lot quicker. And sometimes if there's exigent circumstances, they would be the appropriate agency. And we have very good partnerships with all of our law enforcement agencies throughout Broward County. And they will reach out to us directly if they need any additional assistance.
I would say, Nikki, it's very important for our residents to, in addition to calling 911, call 311 just to make sure if it's an animal situation that we have access to the information. That's very critical. Call 911, then 311.
I love that. And what would you want our residents to know? Is there something out there like maybe they don't realize, or that every time you see they should have known this that they don't? What advice would you give them?
I would say do your homework first of all. Everybody, if I'm going to get a car, the first thing people do is they hop online anymore, right? They Google everything, and do that for your pets and for your future family members with that. The big thing I would want people to know and to do is to reach out when you need help and understand that our officers are out there to be a resource and to assist. We are there to help pets, but again, we're also there to help the community. And give us a call. If you're not sure and you don't know if it's right or wrong or if it's what should or shouldn't be done, go ahead and give us a call.
I love that you say that, because a lot of people, I hear that, like friends, I'd love for my kids or for us to have a pet, but it's too expensive, or we can't afford it, or they get an animal and then they can't take care of the animal. And I love that there's resources out there that they probably don't even know that the resources are there. Right. So definitely call 311, to get that help. But I also want to talk about adoption. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about the adoption. And you said foster.
Absolutely. We have a robust program that helps the community engage with pets. And so we have a micro-fostering program called Broward Buddies. So for busy people like yourself who want to make an impact, you can basically date one of our puppies for 4 hours or for a full day and basically give them an opportunity to engage outside of the shelter. You can adopt, and so you go through the adoption process. There's an application process, and you adopt for a short-term period of time, but also that basically gets the pet out of the shelter. During that time, we offer support if you need support, and if young people need community service hours, we extend community service hours to young people who do the fostering. And then with the adoption program, we do so many partnerships and so many initiatives and campaigns to remove those financial barriers. Because we're the county's official pet adoption agency, nobody beats our price and nobody beats our service. For a lot of other areas, you have to pay hundreds of dollars to secure an adoption. With us, we removed a lot of those fees, and all you pay is the $25 pet registration fee.
I didn't know that.
$25 pet registration fee. So when you talked about those citations, one way to avoid citations is getting a pet registration. I'm going to tell you why it's valuable, Nikki. Two of my favorite stories recently from our agency: a lady lost her cat 8 years ago. But because she had the microchip and all those kinds of things, once the cat got with law enforcement, they were able to scan. That was the city of Pompano Beach. They connected with us. Our intake process, we scanned the cat, and we were able to reunite a cat that had been missing for 8 years. Another situation with a dog. Someone's dog either got stolen or just got separated away from the family. The family moved all the way to another state. 11 years later, because they had that microchip, we were able to connect. They came down from Georgia to reunite with their dogs. So it's those types of stories and resources that are available. But one thing that's very critical, and Philip can definitely speak to this as well, is during this season, unfortunately, a lot of people try to do scams against people in our community. They act like they're us. They use technology to make it appear as like Broward County and things of that nature. But we'll tell you, if someone is trying to scam you, if someone's trying to get money over the phone, that's not us. We do not take money over the phone, but be vigilant and be aware of people who are out in the community looking at lost pet flyers and things of that nature and trying to get a few $100. That is not Broward County Animal Care.
Right. I love that. Can you talk a little bit more about that, Philip?
Yeah, sure. So what Zachary was talking about, we actually did have a situation earlier in the year where people were kind of pirating our phone number and calling people and posing as an animal control officer, saying that they had found their pet and they took it to a vet clinic and or they had it at the shelter, but you need to make this deposit payment or pay the vet deposit and get money online. Fortunately, the people that we learned about that did that, they did come to us and they said, look, I got this phone call that my pet's here. I just didn't want to pay anything on the phone, but I can pay you now. And that's what brought it to our attention. But our field officers or any representative of it, Broward County Animal Care, is not going to ask for personal information over the phone. And is not going to ask for any money over the phone. Officers will identify people in the community for part of their job, but we're not going to get that information over the phone. So if somebody is asking for that, then it is not somebody from our services. We're out there to assist our community and not to take from them.
Very important, very important. Can you add in closing, again, how do we get in touch with you? 311. Is there a website too?
Absolutely. You can go to broward.org/animal. That's our online home with all of our information. We're also very active on social media, so you can check us out. Broward County Animal Care, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So we're very engaged with our community.
I think my cat, so Marley, we found in our neighborhood. We had 2 cats prior. We had them for 16 years each, and they passed away, behind each other. And then we waited. So then now Marley, we found just in our neighborhood. She was little, probably 6 weeks old. We took her in, and I told the kids, let's wait. But we didn't see any posters, which was kind of good because we kind of wanted to keep her anyway. But so now she's been with us 2 years. I think it's been about 2 years. But we got her shots done through one of our stations, our sister station. I think mentioned that you were having that in a location. And I think it was Rodney that told us from Hot 105. And I went and took her, and that's where she got her first shots.
Yes, the pet wellness clinics are very valuable in our community. We do them twice a month, and people can get those types of services, and we take care of you. We have professionals on hand to take care of you.
It was wonderful. It was easy. They were so nice. So we're going to put that on our website also, so that way people can see where to go every month. But we really appreciate. What would you like to add in closing?
I'd just like to add that if people have any questions or concerns, it's one of those, if you see something, say something. If you are not sure, by all means, give us a call. Our field services is out there to assist our community and our pets, and we will do everything we can to assist.
We're open 7 days a week from 11 to 6 p.m., so you can stop by any day that convenience for you. Obviously, we're closed during the government holidays, but outside of that, we're open 7 days a week, ready to serve.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we really appreciate you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.